Hi, I'm Gina Wooden. Many of you know my story, but I've been dreaming of the day that I could share my testimony at National Conference. Sharing with you ladies on the Golden Geese is a dream come true to share. I was supposed to be there in person. Circumstances come up, and obviously I'm not there. But thanks for still sharing your time with me. I'm a single working parent. I'm raising 3 of the most amazing humans that I know and a grumpy old lady dog by myself. When I attended my first ever Pampered Chef party 5 years ago at my sister's house, I only went because I had a babysitter and I was promised a free meal. Mama needed a break. This bubbly, fun, beautiful blonde lady comes into the room, and we sit down at the table, and she says, open your catalogs to page 33. And she began making me fall in love with a kitchen tool, something that I had never done. The rock crack. She made me fall in love with the rock crack within minutes of opening my catalog to page 33. She went on and on about how it can cook on every surface. It can be your one-pot meal. You can make dinner in the microwave in like 8 minutes. It's such a magical piece of cookware. The angels above had made one, and maybe I exaggerate just a little, but this was basically what I heard. I remember exactly where I was sitting at that table. I remember pulling my phone under the table to check my bank app to see if I had enough money to buy this rock crack. I was, again, single parent, one income, totally living paycheck to paycheck, sometimes living overdraft to overdraft. Later in the party, she told me how awful of a cook I am for feeding my kids wood chips and their cheeses. She offered me the price of the day for hosting, and this is how I could get the rock crack for $14. That's for sure more likely in my budget, but I'd have to wait like 2 months because if you know Michelle Anderson, she's just that good. We were all live parties back then, so you had to wait for a night for her calendar to be free, and that's just how life was. And my kids were sure to die of the poison I was feeding them if I waited 2 more months. Then she offered me the business. We were in a room of like 14 people, but I'm telling you this story as if I'm the only person in the room with her because that's just how good she makes you feel. It was half price, kit rebate month. Say that 10 times fast. I could get so many things by joining, like $1,100 worth of products, just by joining and getting half price off of my kit. It's so much cheaper, and I've got just enough money in the bank because I've already checked to just buy the kit and get it within just a couple of days. My kids needed this. I needed this. I joined without hesitation. I waited in the corner of the room until she was done taking orders, and then I said, I'm ready to join. She said, you're a natural. It's in your bloodline. It's true. Selling, I remember with questioning in my mind, I'm signing up for that rock crack, and girlfriend loves the deal. The kit's the best deal in the catalog. Like, it's true. I remember being on that end of that conversation. It is true. I doubt that I'll sell. I signed up, I went home, I went to bed, knowing that that rock crack would be on my doorstep in a few days. I woke up the next morning, and I remembered the day before as I showered and got ready. I remembered at work the day before I had gone into the bathroom, and I cried. I remember crying out to God for him to open a door of opportunity for me for additional income for me and my family, in case I abruptly have to leave my job, in case I have to take something with less pay, just to help me supplement what was barely enough in the first place. I remember thinking when I prayed that it was going to be something else that I'd have to leave my kids for. In addition to my day job, I was planning on getting a second job in the evenings, on the weekends, something else that I would have to do away from home. Work was that stressful that it just seemed like it was a potential reality. It wasn't the first time the single mom would be working 2 jobs, and then I remembered my evening. I went to a party for a free dinner that I didn't even eat, and a door was open for me that I didn't even realize that I had already walked through. I didn't know at the time that the lady, that bubbly, fun-loving blonde lady, had just brought her mother-in-law home from cancer treatment. I didn't know the struggle she faced earlier that day that had almost had her cancel the entire party. She almost did not walk into my life that day. I had no idea, because she greeted me with a smile and she treated me like I was the only person in the room. I had no idea the pathway that God had already prepared for me, no idea the doors of opportunity He had already shoved open just for me. I became a consultant. I earned my kit rebate with the help of my director. I got so excited for this business. I could work as little or as much as I wanted or needed. If I had extra bills, I could have more parties. If life got busy, I could slow down. I watched people earn trips to places like Hawaii and thought, wow, that must be nice. But I never even tried for myself. Didn't think I was special enough to earn a trip. And besides, it's just me and 3 kids. I couldn't take a jaw-dropping vacation, even if it's free without my kids. And then in August of 2018, as National Conference was wrapping up, we learned all the products. I think maybe a quick cooker was announced that year. We thought it was time to say goodbye and pack our things and go home. And all of a sudden, this music comes on and all of these Disney characters come walking down the aisles. Streamers and balloons are flying everywhere. It's a Small World is playing on the speakers, and Pampered Chef announces a trip for 4 to Disney World. And it's going to be easier than any trip has ever been to earn. I remember a new dream growing inside of me. I grabbed Haley by the arm and said, I have to earn this trip for my kids. My kids had never been on a vacation like Disney before. In the past, I had to wait till a payday or 2 ahead just to buy socks, school supplies, or God forbid they outgrew their shoes. But Disney, I didn't know how. My party average was about $214. True story. I only had about 1 party a month on average. True story. I only had a few people on my team. No idea how this was going to be possible. But I knew that if God put this dream in my heart, if He brought me to this moment, He had already made a way. I packed my calendar full for January. My first live party of the year, I took my youngest kid, Ellie, and we took a Mickey Mouse stuffed animal. My eyes lit up when I talked about this trip that I was going to earn. I sold a dream way better than I could even sell a rock crock. If I'm honest, my party was at a lady's house that I met through Facebook. No idea on this day that we would become friends. No idea how we became Facebook friends. I remember as I drove across the bridge, being a little bit scared that I'm not only going to a stranger's house, but I'm taking my kid with me. Who would have known I was going to meet my first recruit of the year? She was a newly stay-at-home mama and just wanted to have a get-together with friends. Something spoke to her, and she wanted to join Pampered Chef to help me earn a trip to Disney. Tara is still with me to this day. She was my first recruit of 2019, and I don't know where I'd be without her. She literally helped us go to Disney. Fast forward about 8 months into 2019, still working to try to earn this trip, and I was still about 20,000 points away. My parties were mostly virtual at this point. And 4 months into the year, I promoted to director just by the sheer impact of the excitement for a trip. And the grace of God and people who joined alongside of me. Some joined for the income, some joined for the products, and some of them merely joined to help me earn a trip. So 8 months in, I'm working harder than I ever have for anything in my life. I could come home from my day job, make dinner, and then sit down at the couch and work on my laptop and work on my parties. I was exhausted. I felt so far away from this trip and worried that I couldn't do it. Worried that I just wasn't good enough. I remember my middle kid, Olivia coming to me in the middle of the evening on this same night that I was thinking this and saying, "Mom, I see how hard you're working and I am proud of you." I'll never forget that moment because it was a turning point in my own mindset. That my kids saw me doing something that I never tried before. My kids saw me working for something like I never had before. She didn't even know that I was ready to give up in that moment. I was ready to throw in the towel and just say, "Never mind, kids. Maybe we can afford Great Wolf Lodge." I kept at it. And as you all probably know, I earned that trip to Disney. My son is almost 21. He made me a mama when I was 18. And I never dreamed I'd be able to take him on a trip like this. And we literally had the best trip of our lives so far. And I took the barriers off myself. I stopped telling myself that I wasn't going to try to earn a trip just because it was a trip for two. These are gifts that Pampered Chef are giving us. They give us the gift of income, of products, of trips, of so much more, of friendships that you make along the way. And I decided I'm just going to keep trying. If I did it once, let's see if I can do it again. And in 2020, I earned a trip for two to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to a beach spa and resort. And I'm not taking any of my kids. I'm going to take my mom on a girls' trip, and my sister's going to come as well. Maybe it's time for you to take some barriers off yourself. Maybe it's time for you to stop being your own roadblock. Maybe it's time to dream a little. I guarantee there are people in your life who are waiting for you to show up and help open doors of opportunity for them. There are people crying in the bathroom, maybe right now, that just need something more. Maybe income isn't even it. Maybe they need friendships. Maybe they're lonely. Maybe they're divorced or empty nesters. Maybe they do need money and they don't even know if they have the money to get the account, money in their account to get started. But you won't know if you don't show up. You won't meet them if you don't try, and you won't reach your own goals if you don't push yourself harder than you ever have before. Trust me, you're worth it. It's time to thrive.